Hey y'all, it's Donna. So I want to talk about the Rittenhouse thing, but first I want to quickly talk about what I see happening with this Travis Scott thing. And this is a given for people that are watching this channel. They know this sort of things happens with the media. But so I woke up the other day and noticed that all of the videos that I was seeing come up weren't there anymore, and I was seeing nothing except for the mainstream news narratives of what happened. And I was like, oh, okay, so they fixed the algorithm, of course. That was expected. And so I click on one of them, and they're going through this, the events, making it so that it was just this horrible accident, nobody, or we don't even know who's really at fault. Okay, whatever, some would say that's fair. But they get to his performance, and they mention that he stopped the show several times. And then they sort of just gloss over this idea that there was a part in his show where he said, put your middle fingers to the sky. He said nothing prior to this. Actually, I think they had just stopped the show, but he wasn't giving anyone time to let him know what was going on or to even check in to see what was going on. Maybe this is all ignorance. He probably isn't a very smart guy anyway. I'm not saying like completely blame him, or he knew what was happening and he's just like this dark evil. Like I mentioned before, obliviousness is how, darkness can get you too. So anyway, but they're trying to say he stopped the show and he asked them to put the middle finger up to let him know that they were okay, that everything was fine and they could keep going. And the way, man, I wish I could find that clip again, but I couldn't remember which one that was. But the lie was so smooth. It sounded right. It sounded real. And if you know anything about these concerts, you can go look it up. There's like compilations of, rock stars and all these performers. They do this all the time. They stop the show. They're like, put your hands up, everybody's good. And they'll say, like, take a few steps back if they see it's getting too crowded, things like that. They tell their crowd to, like, if you see somebody fall, help them up. Don't be an ass. So they sort of skim over this. And I feel like if they watch the footage, they absolutely know that isn't true. Because he was saying it in a sort of, let's just keep going, let's rage sort of way. Like, I'm not stopping. He even said that. You know what you came for. Let's rage. Put your fingers up in the sky. And then they kept going. And then, you know what? I don't want to even keep talking about this because Drake performed afterwards and nobody's even talking about, what part did he play in this? Was he paying attention? Why isn't anyone telling them? Or if they did, why are they ignoring it? Or why aren't they forcing them to stop the show for a moment? Look, if y'all are going to be assholes and not ask the crowd, well, we're going to have to force y'all to do that, right? Like, how complicated is that? We're going to have to force y'all to stop and see what's going on with the crowd. If everything's fine, we'll start the show again. So anyway, the media twisted it, as they always do. And now you see all his fans coming online, making comments, that he did stop the show. They're just repeating that same narrative. He asked them to put a middle finger up if everything was okay. He cares, blah, blah, blah. So, as I said, I don't even know if I said this to begin with. He's going to be fine. I don't know, he'll probably have to take some time off from performing. He'll probably get dropped from a bunch of deals and stuff because nobody wants to be associated with that. They'll probably lose money and, he's having to pay. But my point is, he isn't going to take the blame here. His fans are in full support. His media has been since the beginning. Oh, and one more thing that's really annoying me about the media is this number 8 casualty number that they're sticking with. It doesn't matter that people are dying in the hospital. It doesn't matter that people are missing. It doesn't matter that hundreds were injured. They're just sticking with this sort of, well, it works. You see how it works with the public. They have this one image in their mind. It's like, oh, this was horrible, but, it was just 8. Even though they also simultaneously know that other people are dying, it's crazy. But this is what they do. Somebody was saying Disney World does the same thing. Like, if people die there, that's the number they stick with. It doesn't matter if people die as soon as they're in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. If they die in the hospital, they stick with that number that happened on site because it sounds better. It's less. Okay, so on to Kyle Rittenhouse. I did not think I would even talk about this. I've been seeing this trial in the news for a while. And this happened, like a year ago, this Kenosha thing. It was the BLM protests over Jacob Blake. Okay, so he's out there to help put out fires. He brings like a fire extinguisher. He was erasing, washing off graffiti. He's got a medical kit to help the injured, things like that. And he has a rifle with him for protection. But, he's 17 also. So, it sounds like he's out there doing the right thing. I can't help but think, does his parents know this is what he's out there doing? Because I don't think I would let my 17-year-old son go do this. And knowing how dangerous these protests can get and how degenerate some of these people are, they're coming literally just to burn shit down. And, and this is the thing about the left. I know this is not all of the BLM people, because a lot of them just are good people and they believe what they believe and they want, what they think is right and all of that. But these crowds attract these often white, moronic, emotionally unstable people. That's what I see a lot with the left. And I hate to box the right and the left, because I don't like to be put in a box myself. I do have conservative values. But it's hard to deny that a lot of these people on the left are just emotionally unstable. And that's not only aggravating, but it can be dangerous. That they won't stay consistent in their values and their, morality and their beliefs. They don't have any consistency. So their emotions just sort of change on a whim. And, they don't treat people equally because of this. If they, like this guy right here, Rittenhouse, they started following him because he was not one of them. So whereas a conservative or, a person with more values and the way they treat people equally, it doesn't matter what their beliefs are. None of that matters. You treat them like you would treat everyone else. But this is not how these people act. So anyway, he's there. They realize he's not one of them. He's basically got a target on his back because he's there trying to bring civility to this situation. And so they're running after, at this point when they're running after him, I should say, he already shot the other guy. And I'm not showing that part. I don't want to speculate on that first guy he shot, because there isn't a full video breakdown where I can look at it and see the context. So that's up to the judge, jury. So at this point, they're chasing him. The mob is saying, get him. And then there's people around the other side of him, too. Not just where he's fallen down and they're facing him and they're coming to beat him right here. Now, this first guy you see running off, that was the first shot fired right there in these moments. This appears to be a black man. He missed him, but he did shoot towards him or at him, because this was one of the guys that jumped on him. But oh man, if he would have shot him, yeah, So, happened to be that the two people that did die from this were white. And then the third guy that got shot in the arm was also white. So the three people shot were white. Not that any of this matters. That's the thing. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter, people are talking about the black business owners, that they're tearing the stuff down and he was protecting that. It shouldn't matter. But we all know it does matter to a select group of people, because they don't actually want equality of opportunity. Okay, so I'm going to play this back, and then I'm going to tell y'all a quick story about something that happened in Katrina, where a battle buddy of mine was shot because of a situation like this. When you have a weapon, there's only a split second. When someone is charging you, if you aim and tell them to back up, if they don't do that and they're still charging you, they can get your weapon from you. So it's not just oh, this is just a bar fight. You don't just kill someone because they're trying to fight you. Well, it's not really about that. Once there's a weapon involved, they can get their hands on that. And you have no idea if that's what they are planning to do or not. Okay, so the third guy that he shot actually had a pistol drawn. And so this makes it really tricky. I can see why this went to court. People are saying this is open shut self-defense. Maybe with the third guy. So, there's just so many possibilities here. And I need to clarify something, because I think I said that they saw a target on his back because he wasn't one of them, and that's why they were chasing him. I haven't listened to most of the trial, but I do think it was mentioned somewhere This guy that got shot in the arm said he thought he was a mass shooter, and so that's why they were coming after him. And so that begs the question. If you think someone has just shot another person, whether you think that or not, they have a weapon. Why would you charge them and try to get into a fight with them? You have to be, one, either crazy and not have any care for your own life, or you have to think and believe that person is not capable of hurting you. So I'm sure people are thinking, why not give a warning? Why not aim your weapon, say back up, or I'm going to shoot, or even shoot into the air, which is dangerous. But, I'm sure people are thinking this, like any and every scenario they can to not have to kill someone. Of course, you want to think of any and every scenario. It's hard to think of everything you should be doing in the heat of the moment. So let's do this. Let's think of the possibilities if he hadn't shot, if he hadn't fired even one shot. Would they have just beaten him and walked off? Maybe. Would they have beaten him and taken his weapon? Probably. Would they have beaten him to death? Maybe. Would they have beaten him, taken his weapon, and shot him? Maybe. Would they have just, fought the weapon out of his hands and shot him? I mean, you have no idea. How can you know this? So this brings me to this interaction we had in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. We were in water, knee deep. It was very dark. We were at the bottom of the Superdome where there wasn't supposed to be civilians, and it was just me and a couple of other soldiers. Out of the darkness comes a man with something in his hand, full force, to the other guy that I was with. And we didn't know at the time it was a cot leg, like the cots that you sleep on in the military. He had gotten a cot leg, and he went down there, and he was just hiding in the darkness. And I have to wonder what he was waiting on, because there was a lot of rape and things like that going on there. So he comes full force to this other soldier. I'm pretty far behind at this point, but this happened in a split second. I do recall him saying, back up, I will shoot. The guy comes, and in just a split second, you hear a gunfire. And he tried to grab his weapon, and it turned the rifle in a way that shot the soldier through the leg, through the thigh. And so the guy runs off. I mean, this is my point. It could have been his stomach. It could have been a major organ. He was very lucky to get shot in the thigh. So I apply a tourniquet to his leg, and the MPs find the guy and arrest him. And it all ended pretty well, for the circumstances. To sum it all up, I don't know. I honestly think it should just be left in the hands of the jury and just hope they are not biased. That's all you can really hope for. I don't think he should be charged with 2 counts of murder and 1 attempted murder. I don't think it should be that. But I would assume he's probably going to get charged with something. If not, I believe he's genuinely shaken up over this. I do believe this is all genuine. In all honesty, what should he have done? Should he have aimed it at least and said back up and then fired? I'm not sure. Do you just fight and tussle around on the ground and give them the opportunity to take your weapon and even accidentally shoot you, right? Or accidentally shoot somebody else? I don't know. I think he should have joined the police force or, done something else with his life. He probably would have been a really amazing police officer as well, who could handle himself and use the proper training and, in the heat of the moment. But someone perceived that to be too quick on the trigger. It's just, it's a shame. It really is, because now he's probably lost all those opportunities. I just want to add something, because I see people talking about his intentions of being there. And not necessarily nefarious intentions, just the fact that he wasn't there to defend BLM and Jacob Blake. So they want to see him punished, because we're at a point politically in this country where anyone with conservative values or, right-leaning, that is the new white supremacist. So it doesn't matter what color skin the quote-unquote victim is, what color skin they have. They may not say their names. They may not protest for this Joseph guy or Anthony guy. But they want to see punishment. They want to see revenge take its course. Just because these people don't share the exact same beliefs as they do. And that's what we're seeing with the whole censorship thing. It's all about forcing other people to align exactly with everything you believe, what they believe, which is obviously nonsensical in a world where we're all so different. Without God, there is no stable moral compass to be able to have your value system and then consistently go out into the world and treat everyone accordingly. This is why it seems like they're ruled by emotion and why they can't keep their negative emotions in check, because their beliefs are just ever flowing. There's no concrete value system to remain consistent with. Anyway, I'm rambling, so I'm going to let y'all go. Y'all have a blessed day.